Welcome, Mr. Riyas, to magazine Art Society. We would like to know that you went to Bombay from Kerala, and Kerala, is small state, very small place. You were there in Kochi, and then you went there to learn your textile designing. But instead of textile designing, you turned to social conflict art, depicting. What makes you change your mind?
Yeah, thank you so much for taking time out to speak to me. See, I came to Bombay in 1992. I mean, which is as we all know
Right?
that, it's a crucial year in India's, socio-political history. So, though I came, I mean, in fact, before coming to JJ, I tried NIT a year before as I was very much interested in designing and also mainly textile was one of my focus. So I didn't get through. So next year I tried JJ School of Art, which was, which also had a multidisciplinary, curriculum, which includes, painting, sculpture, all other disciplines, including textile. So I tried, I applied for it, and I got through, and I was very fortunate, to get through one of the, major art institutions in the country. Uh, but though I came from a very, you know, multicultural, diverse, politically active family background, 92, coming to 92 was almost like a big contrast in my life because that's the year, uh, you know, we saw the Babri Masjid demolition happened. Following that, many places communal violence erupted, and Bombay was one of the cities where we witnessed massive riots. Following that, we saw bomb blast in the city, and in fact, as a nation, that we started seeing a certain kind of discomfort between communities, and that affected me a lot. I mean, coming from Kerala, from a completely different ecosystem, coming to study something which I really wanted, and I was always interested in shifting into a place that where which is very cosmopolitan, multicultural, diverse, and Bombay was perfect. I mean, if you see uh, the decision I took to leave textile design and to do art actually evolved out of the city's resilience. The city, what the city taught me as a university, as campus taught me about through art, because I was not just seeing painting or sculptures, I was also seeing all kinds of creative expressions which was coming to be shown in the city from diverse parts of India. So that had a very huge impact on me. So I left textile design and chose uh, visual art. Mainly, I was also doing photography. I was doing installation. Though I was a painting student, I was also doing sculpture. So, so I think the biggest shift or decision to choose painting came out of the circumstance I was in.
So the whole environment of that political arena and environment.
Yeah, it had a huge impact on me. I mean, because I took art as a site to archive things. I took art to respond and comment my thoughts about India's diversity and multiculturalism, and also about people. Especially, I started observing the people who were migrating from the villages to Mumbai as a city, and I could see that. I mean, they.
Say migration, it's a century-old tradition of India to eke out the livelihood. Means, all Rajasthani went to Calcutta and Assam and those Bihar people came, now they are coming to this side. So that's, and it's I think world, it's world. But what was the thing in migration which haunted you? Because migration is not a new thing.
Yeah, see the human evolution history. If you look at, I mean, you know, we speak about our region, that when before 70,000 years, like I mean, you know, the African migration happened to our region, and also we have seen civilizations which occurred, and not just civilizations of human settlements, the exchange of goods, trade, you know, migrating for, you know, economic prosperity. We have seen all those kind of things, but in a city like Bombay, I was seeing economic migrants, refugees from, you know, some of the conflicting zones of our own country. They were finding Bombay as a refuge to live, uh, forgetting their own religious identities, their caste identities. See, what I really understood in Bombay about migration is that most of the people who are migrating to Bombay, they are leaving a huge legacy behind. You know, either they are farmers, they are leaving their own, you know, family backgrounds, they are leaving behind their ancestries, they are leaving behind their customs, their food habits, you know, they are leaving behind even their, you know, a certain kind of family traditions, you know, their surroundings, environment, you know, their childhood, everything. They just leave and migrate to a city to just find, you know, economic, you know, comfort. At the same time, as I said, that they are also trying to forget many other conflicting, you know, issues they have in their villages, which is related to not just economic issues. It's mainly related to kind of caste discriminations and certain religious hierarchies. So
But
that
don't
is,
you think it's very natural because city like Bombay means wherever in cities people migrate for livelihood. They have indulged in their own self that they hardly get any time.
not
It's, don't you think it's natural?
not really. I mean, you know, if you really observe them closely, the communities they live in, the vicinities they live in, I mean, it is, sometimes it is not a choice. You know, it is, you know, it almost becomes like, I mean, you know, the immediate reality they have to accept. You know, so
That's
then,
right.
yeah, so, and that's very important. I mean, you know, in a city like Bombay, that you get to see kind of a diverse, uh, you know, communities in one go, you know, and that becomes a big learning. So for me, when I started doing this portrait series, the systematic citizens, large scale imageries and all, I actually started feeling that. I mean, you know, so I'm able to kind of dissect, you know, in Indian social space through their faces.
Okay. Okay, now once your artwork, it's political as well, social. I would like to know once what is important to you, community or our political system?
See, after coming to Bombay, maybe experiencing like, I mean, my early, you know, life, I had personally decided that, I mean, my art practice will continuously speak about the diversity, multicultural ideas, a social system of like sharing, you know, and also speak of plurality, and also stand by Indian constitutional principles, that which is one of the greatest document that, I mean, we all adhere to. So that's
So, in
been,
a way, it's Indian culture, culture society.
yeah, yeah,
Means the main elements of our Indian society,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is diversity,
which keeps,
resilience,
yeah, which
those
keeps
all.
reoccurring in my work through, you know, different forms. I mean, the recent project I did with Indian Constitution actually speaks of that. You know,
So, means I wanted to know, here, constitution. You, because our community culture, community is elements, diversity, resilience. These all are very means, and respect to each other. Though it is difficult to say respect to each other because our when social conflicts come, we don't care for. So it's only up to self. Still, constitute you when your emphasis now I am saying it's on constitution, right? So when in what you I would like to know in what perspective you are looking at constitution and and community.
See, one interesting thing that which most of the people doesn't know about Indian Constitution, that it is it's a handmade document which was created by Nandlal Bose,
Nandalal
and
Bose,
also
yes.
the calligraphy is done by Prem Bihari Narayan Rai
It's,
Zada.
it's
So it's
the
a
it's the mistake of our political leaders who never means bring our constitution book before the people because they are scared of. I think.
See, what attracted me in the Constitution is that these principles of diversity, which reflects in that the sense of if you look at the preamble, what does it stand for? Those are ideas India as a nation always have grown up with. So what I did with Indian Constitution was.
जरा move करते हो
What I did with the Indian Constitution project was that I was trying to emphasize the art in it. The art in the Indian Constitution actually celebrates India's diversity, and it also speaks from you know uh, the, the Harappa scene to the Indian the Indus Valley civilization to the last image on repeat, which is of a ship. So it's also like, it also shows us that the ideas of exchange and arrivals and like shared knowledges. And and if you go through those 26 illustrations and the decor in it, you see a kind of a wonderful, artistic celebration in it, which cuts across, different aspects, different historic moments, and one image which attracted me so much, which I think most of the people doesn't know, is that there is an image of Gandhi in the Constitution. There are two images of Gandhi in the Constitution. One is Gandhi standing between two communities in Naukal.
Okay.
When India, in a post-independent India, most of the Congress leaders were celebrating India's freedom. Gandhi was among two communities which was in conflict.
More.
So that's the constitution. So I think the spirit inside that constitution is that. That's look at our Mahatma, where he was, and that is depicted in our constitution. And we have to be together as a community. That's been like since '92. Whatever I have tried to do through my art practice is to speak of that. So that's one reason. And recently I thought constitution is an interesting site to go
Wonderful.
into.
Wonderful. It's wonderful. Yes. Once, of course, I myself have also not seen the original book of Constitution. But in President House, its replica has been displayed. I saw that, and really that attracted me. But when you are saying what the spirit of the Constitution, let me know, and so in your artwork fear, on one side Constitution leaflets are there, and then at the last you, I think it was displayed here in
Madeira.
Vadera art gallery. You have put Gandhi and then Ambedkar also. Why Gandhi and Ambedkar both there? They were they were not that close to each other. Why these two?
See,
And I would also like to know why Gandhi attracts you so much and why Ambedkar attracts you so much. That for Gandhi, you went to all South Africa, and here now you are Ambedkar. So many statues in that particular. Why these two attract you? I've not seen any other political figure.
See, I'm interested in kind of triggering at the source. That's one reason. Recently, in 2019, I took two bronze statues of Ambedkar into South Africa, and I've installed two statues near the cradle of humankind,
That's
where Ambedkar is almost in conversation with our own ancestry. So it's important, like somebody like Ambedkar's symbolisms, who in India that we identify him majoritatively. We identify him as a kind of father of constitution, but at the same time, we also keep him aside by making him a Dalit icon. So he's not been kind of somebody placed in in larger platforms like a philosopher, like a thinker, as an academic economist. We don't take his constitutional, his knowledge around human rights into the pedestal. And why did Gandhi, was very supportive of Gandhi when Ambedkar being chairperson of the Constitutional Committee? It's because they have though they had differences, they have realized the quality of this man. So that is what India is all about. So I'm not, when I'm painting Gandhi and Ambedkar, I'm actually, I'm actually able to kind of bring a dissection of Indian society through those two symbolisms. So it's not just about Gandhi and Ambedkar. It is also about two different extremes of India.
Extremes of India. Again, it's a wonderful. Now, say, when we talk of social conflict, it's the women most affected person. But I have seen very less on women in your art. Why it is so?
Not actually, really. See, the one of the major work in my career, which selected for the Venice Biennial, called Designated March by a Petrol Angel. The image I painted was from a very famous film on the suffering of women in Iran, in that community, depicted by Jafar Panahi, which had in fact won Golden Lion in Venice a few years ago, when before my paintings were exhibited there. And it's a continuing imagery in many of my works. I have addressed social suppression in my works, and even in the recent work which I showed with Vadera, called I Think Therefore I Am, that Indus Valley, the dancing girl image,
Dancing.
which is in conversation with our system. So these are very
See,
important
in
symbolisms.
that figure, you have put that dancing girl on a table, just beside
On a
the
pedestal.
and just beside the chair,
Beside the
and chair is vacant. So what does
Chair is actually not vacant. If you look at the chair, where normally the cushion is, the chair carries the national flag. If you go closer to that, and it's also a chair because the area of the cushion where you need to sit um, is is designed with the national flag. The, the chair also becomes like an object where you cannot sit because of the respect which we carry towards our own national identities or symbolisms. So there's a kind of a discourse where if you look at from a very gender perspective, it also gives you that the conflict of like something which is available but it's not attainable, that kind of
to women?
yeah, there is a conflict, an ongoing conflict in society, that where you are not able to kind of achieve a certain privileges because you
So, so in that you are, in a way, you are highlighting
It is there
the
very much.
discrimination.
Yeah,
And
it is very much there in those kind of works. I mean, it's also like, I mean, if you really look at the painting that designated March by a Petrol Angel, and if you see the film Circle, then you realize it. And there are many other smaller paintings that have continuously brought in,
yes,
women
I have
as a
seen your
symbol.
female figures' faces,
Yeah.
which it's very
Yeah, it
very highlighting means the
carries a sense
fear,
of suppression and
the,
fear,
the
discrimination,
yes,
and all this.
discrimination in their eyes.
It's
Yes,
been there.
that's
I
there.
mean, so
But
when I did
mostly
even
migrated.
no, I've done a project with Indian national women's football team, which I think a young, identifiable, a lot in our nation that which which has been suffering heavy discrimination. And I have gone very closer to the team, and I have also done portraits, and I have even did some documentations for them in 2009. And so these are these are things like, I mean, which doesn't necessarily get discussed much, but I have a very fascinating story about Indian women's football team to talk about, because I was
Football is another.
yeah, I've been working with football a lot. So there was
Close to your heart.
see, there was 2009 when the Indian women's football team was preparing for SAF games. I visited them in Goa, and I was sitting with the team, and I was with my family actually there for 10 days. And the coach of the team, after knowing my interest, because I've been working with Indian national men's football team, and by that time I had also done a project with Iraq national football team. So he knew that. I mean, I'm very much behind football as a subject, football as a game of the marginalized in India, and football is a place that where most of our youngsters, like, I mean, suffer for survival. So, so the coach of this women football team told me, like, I mean, did you notice the players, the young players, their studs, their boots, they're playing with? They said, yeah, I've been noticing, like, I mean, most of them are wearing pairs which doesn't suit them or fit them. So he was saying that, I mean, it is actually not available, in our country, because it's not marketed well here. So, so I just took everybody's measure through the coach, and I wrote with a friend, with the help of a friend, to one or two, but mainly three major brands which is very much present in India. But Nike responded within 15 days, and then sent me 36 pairs, uh, you know, and by the time I received it, the team had gone to Bangladesh, Dhaka. They were playing the SAF games. I immediately courier it, and the team had reached quarterfinals,
Amazing.
and they got it as a gift, and and then they became the SAF champions that year. So it's very interesting. Like, I mean, there are these kind of very important narratives that where we don't look at,
Look at.
you know, uh, because these are young players whose name is not that popular, so we just discriminate
To
them.
look at, we need
I've
a
al-
very sensitivity is
I've
required.
also done a short film on them. That it's a very small animated film where they are literally celebrating. Which I never, because it was a film also I made personally to thank Nike, but I never wanted to release it for any reasons. So yeah, I think, see, the subject which you're asking me, like, I mean, it has been something which I've always been engaged with.
And now we come to the other part of your art life. After Bombay, you went back to Kerala and you started your biennial and Kochi Missouri biennial, and then foundation,
Yeah.
then museum, and then some more advanced things for teaching students.
Yeah, student
What this all was, and
See,
what
see, as I,
inspired you
see,
to
as
go
I,
back and Means
And
you
it
could
was
have done something